Hello students, how are you all? The today's topic is law of chemical equilibrium. Now let us understand the law of chemical equilibrium by taking a general example. Let us consider a general reversible reaction. A plus B gives rise to C plus D. It is a general reversible reaction. Here A plus B are the reactants and C plus D are the products. So according to law of mass action, according to law of mass action, law of mass action nothing but the rate of chemical reaction at a given temperature is directly proportional to the product of active masses of reactants. Here concentration is also called as active masses. Active masses is nothing but concentration. So rate of a chemical reaction at a given temperature is directly proportional to product of active masses of reactants. So here A plus B react each other to form C plus D. It is a forward reaction. Forward reaction. So rate of forward reaction is directly proportional to the concentrations of reactants. These are what? Nothing but reactants. These are reactants. So rate of forward reaction directly proportional to concentrations of reactants. What are the reactants? A and B. So rate of forward reaction. So rate of forward reaction is directly proportional to concentrations of what? Reactants. So A concentration and B concentration. So reactants we have to enclose in a square bracket. We have to pronounce it as a concentration of A and concentration of B. So A concentration and B concentration. A is enclosed in a square bracket. We have to read it as a concentration of A and concentration of B. Next, rate of forward reaction. I am labeling as RF. This is the rate of forward reaction. So rate of forward reaction directly proportional to what? Concentration of A and concentration of B. So I am removing the proportionality by keeping constant. Rate of forward reaction is equal to Kf. Kf is the rate constant of forward reaction. Concentration of A and concentrations of B. So this is the forward reaction. Next, backward reaction. Rate of backward reaction directly proportional to concentrations of C and D. Rate of backward reaction. Rate of backward reaction is directly proportional to concentration of C and concentration of D. C concentration and D concentration. So here concentration of the products we include in a square bracket. We have to pronounce it as concentration of C as C concentration and D concentration. So rate of backward reaction I am labeling as RB. RB is nothing but rate of backward reaction directly proportional to concentration of C and concentration of D. Isn't it? Then RB is equal to, we have to label it as Kb. So Kb is nothing but rate constant of backward reaction. So concentration of C and concentration of D. So this is for the forward reaction and this is the rate of backward reaction. So already we know very well that at equilibrium rate of forward reaction is equal to rate of backward reaction. At equilibrium rate of forward reaction is equal to rate of backward reaction. We know very well this point. So rate of forward reaction, what the equation we have, that is equal to Kf into A concentration, B concentration, that is equal to RF nothing but rate of forward reaction is equal to Kf into rate constant of forward reaction into the product of A concentration and B concentration, concentrations of reactants, is equal to rate of backward reaction. What we have, rate of backward reaction is equal to Kb into rate constant of backward reaction into product of concentrations of products. Then Kb into concentration of C and concentration of D. Isn't it? Then rearranging the equation of Kf by Kb. Kf by Kb is equal to, you will get C concentration D concentration by A concentration and B concentration. So product of concentrations of products by product of concentrations of reactant. So Kf by Kb. Kf is the rate constant of a forward reaction, Kb is the rate constant of a backward reaction. So ratio of rate constant of forward reaction and rate constant of backward reaction at a given temperature is called equilibrium constant Kc. So Kf by Kb I am labeling as Kc. So Kc is equal to C concentration, D concentration by A concentration and B concentration. So this is the equilibrium constant. Here Kc is the equilibrium constant. So Kc is equal to equilibrium constant. Kc is equilibrium constant. So I am taking a general reversible reaction multiplying with their respective stoichiometric coefficients. A moles of A plus B moles of B gives rise to C moles of C plus D moles of D. Here small a, B, C and D are the stoichiometric coefficients of reactants and products respectively. So here is A moles of A react with B moles of B gives rise to C moles of C and D moles of D. So for this case Kc is equal to, so Kc is equal to the product of concentrations of products by product of concentrations of reactants. We have that Kc is equal to the product of concentrations of products by the product of concentrations of reactants. Here products are C and D. So this is a C concentration. The concentration C term is raised to the stoichiometric coefficient to C. So C concentration power C. Next D concentration. Concentration of D. So raised to its stoichiometric coefficient is what? D. So D concentration power D by divided by A concentration power A and B concentration power B. So this is the Kc for this equation. So Kc is equal to C concentration power C and D concentration power D divided by A concentration power A and B concentration power B. By taking this we can define the law of chemical equilibrium. By taking this equation we can define the law of chemical equilibrium as at a given temperature the product of concentration of reaction products rise to their respective stoichiometric coefficients in a balanced chemical equation is divided by the product of concentration of reactants. The product of concentration of reactants rise to individual stoichiometric coefficients has a constant value. As a constant value, this is known as equilibrium law or law of chemical equilibrium. In simple words, so these are the concentrations of products. The concentrations of products are raised to their respective stoichiometric coefficients. So these are the concentrations of reactants. Their concentrations of reactants are raised to their respective stoichiometric coefficients. So Kc is equal to concentrations of products by concentrations of reactants. The case of concentrations of products, the concentration terms, concentrations of product of concentration term raised to their respective stoichiometric coefficients. So C concentration power C, D concentration power D divided by these are the product of concentrations of reactants. So A concentration power A and B concentration power B. So Kc is equal to concentrations of products by concentrations of reactants. This is nothing but law of chemical equilibrium. This is the equilibrium law or law of chemical equilibrium. Next let us write the Kc for some reactions. I am taking a reaction N2 plus H2 gives rise to NH3. So we have to balance, this is 3H2, this is 2NH3. And Kc we have to write, Kc is equal to, what we have to write is concentrations of products by concentrations of what? Reactor. The product of concentrations of products by the product of concentrations of reactants. So each concentration term rises to their respective stoichiometric coefficients. So first concentrations of products. Ammonia is there, NH3. Concentration of NH3, its stoichiometric coefficient what is there? 2. So NH3 concentration power 2 by N2 concentration and H2 concentration. Concentration of H2, its stoichiometric coefficient how much is there? 3. So this is the Kc for this reaction. Kc for this reaction. Let us take one more example. I'm taking SO2 plus O2 gives rise to SO3. So this case 2SO2 plus O2 gives rise to 2SO3, isn't it? So this is a gas, and SO3 is also a gas. So for this case we have tried Kc. So Kc is equal to, so what we have tried? Concentrations of products by concentrations of reactants. So what is the products we have? SO3 concentration, its stoichiometric coefficient how much is there? 2 by SO2 concentration, its stoichiometric coefficient how much? 2 O2 concentration. So this is the Kc for this equation. Simple. So we have to write the product of concentrations of products by the product of concentrations of reactants. Each concentration term rises to their respective stoichiometric coefficients. Next, third I am taking H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2HI. H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2HI. In this case, Kc is equal to concentrations of Hi power 2 by concentration of H2 and concentration of I2. So this is the equivalent Kc for this equation. Next, same equation I am taking half H2 plus half I2. Half H2 plus half I2 gives rise to Hi. So this is the equation I took. So for this case, Kc is equal to concentrations of products by concentrations of reactants. H2, what is the stoichiometric coefficient we have? Of 1 by 2. So H2 concentration power 1 by 2 and I2 concentration, this is H2 plus I2. H2 plus I2 gives us 2 Hi. This is so I2 concentration power 1 by 2. So this is the Kc for this equation. So this is a method to write Kc for a given reversible reaction. Next, equilibrium constant Kc. So equilibrium constant Kc is defined as at a given temperature, the ratio of rate constant of forward reaction and rate constant of backward reaction is known as equilibrium constant. So let us read the statement. At a given temperature, the ratio of rate constant of forward reaction, nothing but Kf. Rate constant of forward reaction is Kf. Rate constant of forward reaction and rate constant of backward reaction. Rate constant of backward reaction, nothing but what we have to take? Kb. Rate constant of backward reaction is Kb. Is known as equilibrium constant. Here, equilibrium constant Kc is equal to, we know the formula Kf by Kb. So Kc is the equilibrium constant, Kf is the rate constant of forward reaction. Kc is equal to equilibrium constant. It is equilibrium constant. Here Kf is equal to rate constant of forward reaction. And Kb is equal to rate constant of backward reaction. Next, the value of equilibrium constant is independent on initial concentrations of reactants and products, pressure, volume and catalyst. Next point, the value of equilibrium constant. The value of equilibrium constant independent. The value of equilibrium constant independent, that means do not depends upon. The value of equilibrium constant independent on initial concentration of reactants and products. Initial concentrations of reactants and products, pressure, catalyst, etc. and volume of pressure, volume. Next, the value of equilibrium constant depends on equilibrium constant, the value of equilibrium constant. So here you can take etc. The value of equilibrium constant depends on the following. The first one is mode of representation of reaction. Mode of representation. Mode of representation of reaction. So these are very important points. So the value of equilibrium constant independent on initial concentration of reactants and products, pressure, catalyst, volume, etc. And the value of equilibrium constant depends upon mode of representation of reaction. To solve the problems, so these points are very, very important. So mode of representation of a reaction. So I'm taking a chemical reaction, general representation A plus B gives rise to C plus D. A plus B gives rise to C plus D. So for this case, I'm labeling as equilibrium constant Kc. So Kc is equal to what we have written. So concentrations of products by concentrations of reactants. So C concentration and D concentration by A concentration and B concentration. It's clear. Now I'm taking the reverse equation now. So these are the actually in this equation A plus B are the reactants, so C plus D are the products. So I'm reversing equation. Then C plus D are the reactants. So this is I'm labeling as 1, this is I'm labeling as 2 for convenience purpose. Right? So gives rise to A plus B. In this equation, A plus B are the reactants, so C plus D are the products. But here C plus D are the products, reactants, so A plus B are the products. Reversing the equation. Then equilibrium constant Kc. So here also Kc is there, here also Kc is there. To differentiate it, I am taking as a Kc dash. That is equal to. So concentrations of products by concentrations of reactants. Is in concentration of products by concentrations of reactants. Now the question is, what is the relationship between the Kc and Kc dash? What is the relationship between the Kc and Kc dash? So we'll get Kc dash is equal to 1 by Kc. If we take the Kc dash is equal to 1 by Kc, Kc dash is equal to 1 by Kc. The relation between the Kc and Kc dash is equal to 1 by Kc. So this is a mode of representation of a reaction. So this is original equation. If you reverse the equation, the relationship between the two equilibrium constant Kc and Kc dash is equal to 1 by Kc. This is the first one, mode of representation of reaction. Next, the value of equilibrium constant depends on stoichiometric representation of a chemical equation. So this is the second one. In that first one, I am taking a general reversible reaction. A plus B gives rise to C plus D. A plus B gives rise to C plus D. For this case, we have tried to Kc. Kc is nothing but what? The product of concentrations of products by the product of concentrations of reactants. Then Kc is equal to concentration of C and concentration of D by concentration of A and concentration of B. So this is the Kc for this equation. So second, in that I am taking second case, this is the stoichiometric, each case stoichiometric coefficient is 1 is there. So here is nothing is there, we have to imagine 1. So 1 mole of A react with 1 mole of B to form 1 mole of C and 1 mole of D. So I am changing the stoichiometric coefficient to half. So half moles of A plus we are taking half moles of B gives rise to half C plus 1 by 2 D. So for this case we have to write Kc. So to differentiate I am labeling as Kc dash. So Kc is equal to product of concentration production by product of concentration of reactants. Here is Kc dash is equal to again same, the product of concentrations of products by product of concentrations of reactants. So C concentration power 1 by 2. C concentration power 1 by 2, D concentration power 1 by 2, isn't it? So here is A concentration power 1 by 2 and B concentration power 1 by 2, isn't it? Now what is our aim is we have to find out a relationship between the Kc and Kc dash. Relationship between Kc and Kc dash. So Kc dash is equal to square root of Kc. So this is the relationship between the Kc and Kc dash. This is the first case. And I am taking the second case. Same equation I am taking, A plus B gives rise to C plus D. A plus B gives rise to C plus D. This is the first case. So Kc is equal to C concentration, D concentration by A concentration, B concentration. This is the Kc. In this I am taking second case. So multiplying this equation with certain value n. So I am taking certain value n, then n moles of A plus n moles of B gives rise to n moles of C plus n moles of D. So multiplying this equation with certain value n. Then for this case we have tried Kc. Then Kc is equal to, so differentially we are writing Kc dash. The Kc dash is equal to C concentration power n, D concentration power n by A concentration power n and B concentration power n. So we have to find out the relationship between the Kc and Kc dash. Here is a Kc dash is equal to Kc power n. So this is the relationship between the Kc and Kc dash. This is the second one. And third one. Third one, this I am labeling as understanding purpose A, this I am labeling as B. In that B, this is the first case and this is the first case, first one, second one, the first one and second one. Third one I am labeling as C. So for this case, I am considering the following reaction: N2 plus O2 plus Cl2. All are gases. So N2 plus O2 plus Cl2 gives rise to 2NOCl. It is also a gas. So for this case, we have to write equilibrium constant. Kc is equal to NOCl concentration power, stoichiometric coefficient how much is there? 2. So stoichiometric coefficient power 2. So concentration power 2 by N2 concentration and O2 concentration and Cl2 concentration. So this is the Kc for this equation. Kc for this equation. Next, this equation I am splitting into 2. So what I am doing is N2 plus, first one, this is splitting into 2 in that 1. N2 plus O2 gives rise to 2NO. This is also a gas. So for this case, I am writing K1. So K1 is equal to, so concentrations of products. So what we have to write NO concentration power 2 by N2 concentration and O2 concentration. This is the K1. Next, I am taking in that second one is K2. So for second one, NO plus Cl2. NO is a gas, Cl2 is also a gas. So I am taking this is 2NO. So 2NO plus Cl2 gives rise to 2NOCl. 2NOCl. This is also a gas. So this equation, this is the original equation. This equation I split into two steps. So this is single step. This is a single step where we got Kc value. It's no doubt at all. Kc we got single step. So this equation I am writing in a two different steps. This is the step 1 and this is the step 2. Step 1 and step 2. So in these two steps, so the first two step I wrote K1 is equal to products concentration by reactant concentration. Step 2 I am writing K2. K2. So K2 is equal to what we have to write NOCl concentration power 2. NOCl concentration power 2 by NO concentration power 2 and Cl2 concentration, isn't it? So this is the K2. Now our aim is we have to find out the relationship between the Kc, K1 and K2. So we have to find the relation between Kc, K1 and K2. So here I am taking K1 into K2. So K1 into K2. So what is the K1 we have? NO concentration power 2 by N2 concentration and O2 concentration, isn't it? So K1 is equal to NO concentration power 2 divided by N2 concentration and O2 concentration into. So what is the K2 we have? K2 is equal to NOCl concentration power 2 by NO concentration power 2 and Cl2 concentration, isn't it? This is what? K2. So K1 into K2 is equal to NO concentration power 2 by N2 concentration, O2 concentration into NOCl concentration power 2 by NO2 concentration power 2 and Cl2 concentration. So here NO concentration power 2, NO concentration power 2 will get cancelled. Then that is equal to remaining what we have is NOCl concentration power 2 by N2 concentration, O2 concentration, remaining what you have is Cl2 concentration, isn't it? So K1 into K2. Then K1 into K2 is equal to, so NOCl concentration power 2 by N2 concentration, O2 concentration, Cl2 concentration, nothing but what? We got Kc, isn't it? Then that is equal to what? Kc. So what is the relationship between the K1, K2 and Kc? So Kc is equal to K1 into K2. So this is the stoichiometric representation of chemical equation. Next, the value of equilibrium constant depends on temperature. This is the third one. The effect of temperature on equilibrium constant can be explained by using a want-half equation. So equation is log K2 by K1 is equal to delta H by 2.303 R T2 minus T1 by T1 into T2. So this is the want-half equation. Want-half equation. So the effect of temperature on equilibrium constant can be explained by using a want-half equation. Log K2 by K1 is equal to delta H by 2.303 or T2 minus T1 by T1 into T2, where K1 be the equilibrium constant at temperature T1, So K1 is equilibrium constant at temperature T1. Next K2 be the equilibrium constant at temperature T2. So K2 is the equilibrium constant at temperature T2. Next to delta H. Delta H is a heat of reaction. Delta H is heat of reaction, where R is the gas constant. Next, so let us understand the effect of temperature on equilibrium constant by in the three cases. So in the first case I am taking case 1. So case 1 I am taking delta H. Delta H is equal to positive I am taking. Delta H is equal to positive. So delta H is equal to positive in the sense heat is absorbed. This is a endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction. Heat is absorbed. Heat is absorbed in the sense endothermic reaction. Delta H will be positive. That means heat absorbed. Endothermic reaction, heat absorbed. So heat absorbed, that is endothermic reaction, delta H is equal to positive. I am taking equation log K2 by K1, that is equal to delta H by 2.303 or T2 minus T1 by T1 into T2. So this is the 1/2 equation. So what the thing we have taken is delta H is equal to positive. Delta H is equal to positive, endothermic reaction. So here is a temperature we have taken T2 is greater than T1. So we are raising the temperature. When the temperature increases, what about the equilibrium constant values? Change increases or decreases or remains the same. So T2 is greater than the T1. So delta H is equal to positive. That means endothermic reaction, heat is absorbed, delta H is positive. Temperature T2 is greater than the T1. So if delta H is positive, then log K2 by K1, log K2 by K1, this total term will become positive. Delta H is positive. Here temperature T2 is greater than the T1. This is the positive term. Delta H is positive. The total term is positive. So you can take log K2 minus log K1 is equal to positive, isn't it? Log K2 minus log K1 is equal to positive. If you want to get this is the positive value, so log K2 minus log K1 is equal to positive sense here K2 value must be greater than log K2 is must be greater than the log K1. So log K2 is greater than log K1. If log K2 value is greater than the log K1, then only we will get a positive value. So log K2 is greater than the K1. That means K2 is greater than K1. K2 is greater than K1. So this indicates that when the temperature increases, the equilibrium constant is going to get increases. So this means that Kc is directly proportional to temperature. Kc is directly proportional to temperature. Here initial equilibrium constant is K1. When the temperature rises to T2 and Kc value, K2 value is going to get increases. So equilibrium constant value is increases. K2 is greater than the K1 is greater than the K2 in the sense the final value is more. So when the temperature increases, equilibrium constant is going to get increases. So Kc is directly proportional to temperature. So temperature increases, equilibrium constant value is going to get increases. This is the first case. Second case, I am taking a case 2. Case 2 I am taking a delta H is equal to negative. Delta H I am taking negative. So here is the positive, here is delta H is negative. Delta H is negative in the sense the reaction is exothermic. Exothermic reaction. So exothermic reaction in the sense that means heat evolved. Heat is evolved in a reaction. Heat evolved in a reaction. Next, I am taking equation log K2 by K1 is equal to delta H by 2.303 or T2 minus T1 by T1 into T2, isn't it? Here also T2 is greater than the temperature rising. Here also we are raising the temperature. When the temperature is rises, what about the equilibrium constant? Increases or decreases we have to find. So T2 is greater than the T1 and delta H is equal to what we took? Negative. The total term will become negative. So log K2 by K1 that is equal to negative. Log K2 by K1 that is equal to negative. Then log K2 minus log K1 that is equal to negative. Negative value we get. So here is a negative in the sense which is more, log K1 value is more, then only we will get negative value. When compared to log K2 value, minus log K1 value must be more. This is a negative minus log K1. So log K1 value must be more, then only get here is negative. That means log K2 is less than log K1. That means K2 is less than K1. This is the second case. So look at this. Here is K2 is greater than the K1. Temperature increases. K2 value, equilibrium constant value is going to get increases. Here is K2 is less than the K1. This shows that Kc is inversely proportional to temperature. Kc is inversely proportional to temperature. This is a second case. Kc is inversely proportional to temperature. Then case 3. Case 3, I am taking a delta H is equal to 0. Case 3, delta H is equal to 0. That means it is not exothermic, not endothermic. So heat is not absorbed, heat is not evolved. So that means reaction neither endothermic nor exothermic. So I am taking equation log K2 by K1, that is equal to delta H by 2.303 or T2 minus T1 by T1 into T2, isn't it? That is equal, here delta H is equal to what? 0. Delta H is equal to 0. This total term will become 0. Then log K2 by K1 is equal to what? 0, isn't it? Then log K2 minus log K1 is equal to 0. Then log K2 is equal to log K1. That means K1 is equal to K2. K1 is equal to K2. So at any temperature, so K1 is equal to K2. Temperature increases, there is no change in the equilibrium constant. In the case of delta H is equal to 0. So first case, the first case, if the reaction is exothermic, then temperature is increases, Kc value is going to get increases. First case. Second case, if the reaction is endothermic, temperature increases, Kc value is going to get increases. The reaction is exothermic, second case, delta H is negative, temperature increases, Kc value is going to get decreases. Kc, equilibrium constant inversely proportional to temperature. This is the second case. Case 3, delta H is equal to 0. The reaction is neither exothermic nor endothermic. In the third case, the temperature increases, so there is no change in the Kc value. Equilibrium constant remains same. So equilibrium constant remains same at all temperatures if delta H is equal to 0. So this is the effect of temperature on equilibrium constant. The effect of temperature on equilibrium constant can be explained by using a 1/2 equation. Log K2 by K1 is equal to delta H into 2.303 or T2 minus T1 by T1 into T2. So we have the three different cases. This is the effect of temperature on equilibrium constant. Next, units of equilibrium constant. The units of equilibrium constant vary in case of different reactions. Let us take some examples. Take example 1. PCl5 gives rise to PCl3 plus Cl2. So all are gases. Right, I am taking equilibrium constant Kc. Kc is equal to concentrations of products. PCl3 concentration, Cl2 concentration by PCl5 concentration, isn't it? And concentration is nothing but active mass. So earlier we are using active mass, now we are using the concentration. Concentration nothing but active mass. So concentration nothing but mole per liter. Concentration nothing but mole per liter, that is equal to nothing but N by V. So concentration is equal to N by mole per liter. So I am taking here is Kc. For this case, Kc, this is the concentration. So concentration of PCl3, concentration of Cl2, concentration of PCl5. So concentration nothing but what we have to take mole per liter. So mole per liter, and this is concentration. What we have is mole per liter by concentration we have mole per liter. Isn't it? Mole per liter will cancel. Then what we have is Kc is equal to mole per liter. So this is the unit of this equation. PCl5 gives rise to PCl3 plus Cl2 for first case. I am taking second example. Another example, H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2HI. H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2H. This is a gas, it is a gas, and it is also a gas. So equilibrium constant Kc is equal to concentrations of product Hi concentration power 2 by H2 concentration and I2 concentration, isn't it? So Kc is equal to, so Hi concentration nothing but what? Mole per liter. Mole per liter. Power how much? 2. Kc by this is what? Mole per liter, and this is what? Mole per liter, isn't it? So mole per liter all will get cancelled. Then Kc has no units. No units. For Kc there is units because all the things will be get cancelled. So Kc has no units. This is the second one. Next example. I am taking SO2 plus O2 gives rise to SO3. So balance this 2 SO2, 2 SO3. All are gases. So for this case we have to write equilibrium constant Kc is equal to SO3 concentration power 2 by SO2 concentration power 2 and O2 concentration, isn't it? That is equal to concentration at what we have formula mole per liter. So mole per liter power 2 by, so this is what? Mole per liter power 2, and this is what? Mole per liter, isn't it? So mole per liter and mole per liter square will get cancelled. Then we have mole per liter, then we will get a liter mole inverse. So Kc units is Kc is equal to unit, it has a liter mole inverse. So let us take one more example. I am taking N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3, isn't it? Then this is gas, and this one also is a gas. So we have to write equilibrium expression for this equation. So NH3 concentration power 2 by, isn't it? N2 concentration and H2 concentration power what we have is 3. That is equal to, here is what? Mole per liter power 2 by, isn't it? Here is N2 nothing but what? Mole per liter. Mole per liter. Here is mole per liter power 3, isn't it? So here is a mole per liter and here is mole per liter, here is 1 mole per liter will cancel. Remaining what you have is a mole per liter power 2 we have. Then we will get a liter square mole inverse 2, mole power minus 2. So this is a Kc. This is the units of Kc liter square mole inverse 2. So here the units of Kc, the units of equilibrium constant vary in case of different reactions. So this is the units of equilibrium constant.